Welcome back to the Casey Wally channel. All right, so for it is March the 24th, 2021. Don't have any updates for you guys in terms of fitness or anything like that right now, but I actually wanted to do a video talking a little bit about something else I give a significant portion of my time to nowadays, World of Warcraft. So yes, I've been a World of Warcraft player since 2000. I must have started in either 2010 or 2011 with Cataclysm, and which I know any of you who are watching who have been a World of Warcraft player for a long time have probably been like, "Oh God, you started in Cataclysm. I'm so sorry for you." Well, I enjoy the game, and I've played it off and on over the years. The first like 3 years, like I played it like really, really dedicatedly, and then I ended up taking quite a few breaks. And nowadays, I tend to just play it off and on. It's a game that I always go back to, and nowadays I've got tenure in the game. You know, I've been playing the game for around 10 years now. Excuse me. Anyways, when World of Warcraft Classic was announced, I wasn't really sure what to think. I had joked around with my girlfriend for years about she was also a World of Warcraft player, and we always joked about how all these people in World of Warcraft always claimed that they were like, oh yeah, it's vanilla was best, and she was around for vanilla. She played back then. I personally didn't, so I couldn't really say much to it. But yeah, when you play World of Warcraft, especially before Classic came out, you'd always hear about how much people loved vanilla, Burning Crusades, and Wrath of the Lich King, and then everyone always complained about Cataclysm. And we always joked that people probably, I guess, kind of like the famous meme on the internet with what one of the main Blizzard guys did say is like, you think you do, but you don't. And it's like, no, actually people really did want it. And I was at least curious about it, so when it was officially announced that they were actually going to do it, I was like, okay, I'll try it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to prefer it to retail. And there's always been things about retail World of Warcraft that I would change if I had the power. But, like, I think I've always felt, even from the first time I played the game, I felt that the first 10, 20, even 30 levels of the game are way too easy. Way too easy. You start the game in retail World of Warcraft, and this even is true going all the way back to Cataclysm. When you started the game, when you started a brand new character, you felt like a demigod. Like you were just smiting the enemies around you. And that, in my personal opinion, that's not a very good start to a fantasy adventure, because it's nice to kind of feel like the newbie. It's fun to feel like, like, oh, I've got to get more powerful. I've got to get better with these weapons. I've got to, learn what's going on in this world. When you start the game and you're just automatically badass, it's like, oh, well, I guess the character doesn't really need my help. I'm just kind of along for the ride then. And then the game gradually gets more and more difficult as you go. I wouldn't really say difficult, but, if there was challenge to World of Warcraft retail, then it was in later game, not early game. Classic. So, anyways, going back to it, yeah. So, Classic comes out. I'm excited to try it because of how hyped up everyone else is and how much I've heard about it over the years. And I will also say this: I always was the more I got into World of Warcraft over the years, I was envious of people who got to play Burning Crusades and Wrath of the Lich King. I wasn't necessarily envious of vanilla, but playing through, like going through like the Outlands and the different dungeons of Outlands, seeing the older raids and stuff like that, and Northrend as well, I actually did think, like, I wish I could experience these expansions, because that was some of the coolest looking content in the game, in my personal opinion. And I never thought I'd get to experience those myself in terms of like the actual expansions, just be able to go back and play the old dungeons and raids and do the old quests if you want to and that sort of thing. So anyways, going back to vanilla releases, and me and my old WoW group, we didn't have everyone from back in the day, but there was at least, let's see, there was at least 4 of us. There used to be more. There used to be like 7 of us, and then some of us just don't play the game anymore. One of us died, And yeah, so there was four of us this time around. We hopped right back into classic, and of course, day one queue times were absolutely absurd. I don't think I got to play day one. I think I played day two when it released, and even then, unless you were trying to play it competitively, like unless you were trying to, level up faster than everyone else, then it wasn't really that fun day one, and even it wasn't really playable that first week. There was too many people, especially those first like 3 days. There was too many players trying to do the same quests at the same time. It wasn't that fun. It was just exciting to be there for it and to see it, but in terms of actual gameplay, it was terrible. But there is no way that they could have done it any other way. That's not really on Blizzard. That's just due to the nature of how popular Classic was and how much we all wanted to play it. So, fast forward to a couple months in, I actually ended up. I would say I'm more of a World of Warcraft Classic player now than I am a retail player. Even with the release of Shadowlands, I still haven't played Shadowlands. Well, actually, that's not true. I have a level 57 character, so I haven't even gotten to endgame content. Even recently, when Shadowlands came out, it came out like 2 or 3 months back now. Even recently, when it came out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play Shadowlands now. Like I've put all this time into Classic. I had a great time. Made all these different characters, and now I'll finally go back to retail, and I'm gonna play the new expansion and see what that's like now, because it feels like it's been a while since I've actually played retail. I pretty much skipped BFA, Battle for Azeroth. I pretty much skipped that entire expansion. I did play Warlords of Draenor, and I did play Legion, and I just wasn't really into when by the time Battle for Azeroth came out. It was kind of around the time where I felt I needed to take another break. I pretty much just skipped the entire expansion, and that's for a lot of different reasons that I could get into, but those are external things. So just in talking about World of Warcraft, yeah, I pretty much skipped Battle for Azeroth, which is the first expansion that I've skipped since I started playing the game back in Cataclysm. But yeah, I kind of fell in love with Classic. It kind of did so many things right that retail just doesn't quite do well anymore. And the honest truth is that some of the things, like one of the things Classic does so incredibly well, the leveling. The leveling is so much fun. I've leveled so many different characters now, and every time it feels like a real, legitimate digital adventure, as opposed to retail World of Warcraft, where, I going into Shadowlands, I decided to, I changed my server. I kind of just restarted the game essentially, and I only transferred over one of my older characters, my elemental shaman that I made back in Mists of Pandaria. And I'm going to do a video, by the way, on Mists of Pandaria, because I get it. I get why everyone hates on Mists. I totally understand. And I also realize that if I like it, it's kind of a bias, considering that for me, Mists of Pandaria was my first expansion in World of Warcraft. So, I do understand why people disliked it. But honestly, I think I am going to need to make a video at some point just talking about, I think it gets a bad rep. I think really the only thing anyone disliked, I think there was only two things that people disliked about Mists of Pandaria, and those two things that they disliked, they just dogged on the entire expansion. One of which I very well understand, that being changing over to the talent board system, which I don't like the talent board either, to be honest. I still don't like it. I wish they would change it, not even necessarily back to the original skill tree system, but I wish they would change it to a different skill tree system. It's been enough years. If they changed the whole system again, I don't think it'd be for the worse. And honestly, no one really likes the talent board system. It sucks. It's just boring. It's not very fun. You don't really feel the character progression. It's just not nearly as good as the skill tree, the original skill tree system. It's just not. And so anyways, so that's one legitimate reason why a lot of people dislike Mists of Pandaria, and that's completely understandable to me. The other reason is just the aesthetic and the theme of the expansion, which, granted, considering Kung Fu Panda was a thing, very understandable how people looked at Mists of Pandaria, and were like, "Are you kidding me? This is little kid stuff." Like what? You know, like World of Warcraft is supposed to be for everyone, little kids included, but it was supposed to be for even teens and adults. It wasn't supposed to be just directed specifically towards children. And it very much kind of felt that it was kind of being directed towards children with Miss Pandaria. But really, I think that's the two things that are actually questionable or even bad about Miss Pandaria. Everything else was actually phenomenal. The raids, phenomenal. Okay, not PvE, because monks were broken. Monks were so broke. Okay, so three things. Three things. I'll give you that. There was three bad things about Miss Pandaria. Because actually, I like monks in concept, but when they came out, the healing monks were broken. Okay, they were doing more damage. I'm basically doing the video. I'm not. This video is not really about Miss Pandaria. I'm gonna get back to this main subject matter. Classic. So I play Classic now. I really enjoy it. I'm not a hardcore player by any means. I'm not gonna claim that, but I really enjoy just playing Classic. I think it does a lot of things better than retail. The leveling, better, just better in every way. In retail, it's not really about leveling anymore. The game doesn't really even start until you get to the level cap in retail. Whereas in Classic, leveling is the game. That is the game. And then of course there is stuff to do afterwards, PvP rating and stuff like that, but for the most part, leveling is Classic. And it's just done so well, and character progression feels so good. So anyways, I was kind of getting nervous for a while there whether or not they were going to do the Burning Crusades. I figured they were going to do it, but I wasn't sure. And I thought I just thought if they don't do the Burning Crusades, then the game will die sooner than later, and it won't really be worth playing anymore, at least not as an MMO. And then when enough time goes by and their subscription numbers for Classic just plummet, they'll eventually shut down the servers. So, not to mention, we all want more stuff to do. Of course we do. So, they finally announced it. Well, I say finally, they didn't actually take that long. It's been less than 2 years since Classic has even released. So, they didn't take I'm not suggesting they took too long. They didn't. In fact, I'd say they announced it at pretty much the perfect time. And so now, even though I meant to officially go through and play a retail, I meant to play Shadowlands and catch up on that and see what that's like. I actually wanted to get into Shadowlands PvP because I've heard if there's one thing that retail World of Warcraft is still exceptional at, it's PvP. I've never really gotten into PvP before, so I was planning on playing Shadowlands, but I'm just back in Classic right now, having a great time, leveling new characters. And for the first time ever, I started on a PvP server because, all those years that I played World of Warcraft, I never really picked the server that I was on. I started playing with friends, and they already had their characters on a specific server, so I just picked the same server that they did, obviously. So I never really chose between PvP and PvE. I just had to play on whatever they were doing. And that was also true of Classic. By the time I got into Classic, of my friends that were already playing the game, they had already chosen a server and were already level 5 or 6. So they were like, just join our server. And I was like, all right, fine. So again, I didn't get to choose between PvE and PvP. I just always have to go with PvE. Well, I decided to finally actually give PvP servers a try. And so I picked... I won't even say which server I picked. Well, maybe we'll get into that eventually if you guys are curious which server I'm on. So I finally tried one, and it is a high population server, and I knew what it was gonna be. I figured what it was gonna be like, but I didn't I don't know. I mean, I've always just kind of imagined what it's like dealing with, high level players, and so far I went with a horde. I'm sorry, not horde. I'm on Alliance. I went with a hunter character. I've never actually played hunter before. It's never been my main, but I just figured it maybe as a hunter, it would kind of give me a bit of an advantage, in terms of not just in PvP, but in being able to defend myself. I didn't want to play something that I didn't want to play a warrior, which was gonna have the hardest time on a PvP server. So I figured I'll pick something that sounds kind of fun because I didn't want to play Warlock. I know Warlocks are the best in PvP and Classic. I've also never played a Warlock, and I'm not really interested in that. And I didn't want to play a Priest. I do have a Mage, but I've already played through as a Mage, so I was like, I'm going to try the Hunter this time, and I think that'll also give it a bit of an advantage. Something I didn't realize, something I completely forgot, while Hunters are not bad at PvP, they're nowhere near the top. It pretty much, as far as my understanding of it goes on Classic, it goes Warlock at the top, I believe, then Priest, I think, then, or either, actually probably Warlock, Mage, then Priest, then kind of everyone else below them. And something I forgot was that Mages are a direct counter to Hunters. There's something called the Dead Zone. It's a zone in which a Hunter cannot hit at all because you are too close to use, ranged attacks like bow and arrows or guns, and you're too far away to use a melee attack. So, and of course, mages can use Frost Nova to freeze their opponents. So, and that actually, I forget what the cooldown on that is, but it's only like 20 seconds. On top of that, they have mages just, you're using pure CC. Hunters stand no chance. The amount of times I've been killed by mages, which is, by the way, the only people who've actually taken me on in a fair fight. I could also get into the sheer amount of player grieving that I've had to deal with on this PvP server. I gotta say, even though for years everyone's always told me, like, you haven't really played an MMO unless you play on the PvP server. That's the real MMO. That's the pure experience. It's overrated. I've gotten my Hunter up to level 40, and I took a break, and I'm back on my PvE server, just trying to actually enjoy myself a little bit, because I just got so sick and tired by level 60 undeads killing me. I just got so sick of it. So I am going to continue that level 40 Hunter eventually, but I don't know, man. I was getting exhausted from just being killed by level 60 undead rogues over and over and over, just endlessly. Just come on, guys. This is, why are you even... Anyways, so the last thing I want to talk about in this video, I could talk about World of Warcraft for hours, but I'm not going to do that. The last thing that I do want to talk about in this particular video is, so I'm not exactly, like I said, I'm definitely more of a casual player when it comes to World of Warcraft. So I don't hear about all of these things as soon as they come out. And about a year ago, I did start watching Asmongold. He's probably, not probably, he is the top streamer and YouTube content creator in terms of as far as World of Warcraft is considered, and I totally see why. His content is awesome. The dude's hilarious. He's great. He put out a video, looks like just about 19 hours ago, called WTF Asmongold Reacts to Classic TBC Store Mount Leaks. So supposedly they think there might be a purchasable mount for Classic. Now, that's a big no-no. Now, this is not anything confirmed. This was data mined information that they think this mount is going to be a purchasable mount for World of Warcraft Classic. Whether it's a direct type of purchase, or whether it's like, do the subscribe for a full 6 months in advance, and then we'll give you the mount, which is still, buy to receive then. And this is a big no-no for Classic. This is the type of thing that we don't want. Getting a mount in Classic is a big deal. It costs, you have to get up to level 40, you have to get 90, it's like 90, about 90 gold, which, if you're a retail player, is nothing. That's like literally, 90 gold is like, you'll get that in like 2 minutes of playing. In Classic, if you're new to Classic, 90 gold, that's a lot. That's going to take you a while. My first mount, I wasn't even able to purchase it. I didn't really save up my money very well. So I didn't get my first mount until I was at level 45 on my mage. That's when I got my first mount. And it was awesome. When you finally get it, finally getting that speed boost, it feels so good. It's amazing. Love it. So, and kind of taking that away from the game just being like, hey, just give us some extra cash and everyone gets a mount then. And it's like, Blizzard, don't take that away. That's a huge part of what makes Classic great, is the reward of the game, of the reward of actually playing the game. If you take that away, that you're taking away a huge part of what makes Classic great. Don't do that, Blizzard. Don't make that mistake. This is part of the reason why people wanted Classic in the first place. And I'm someone who's fully converted. Like I said, me and my at the time girlfriend, we used to make fun of the idea of Classic servers completely. We were like, we agreed with the guy who said on stage, like, oh, you think you do, but you don't. We were like, yeah, in all honesty, he's probably kind of right. No, he could not have been more wrong. Classic is awesome. It's I'm not gonna say it's better than retail in every conceivable way, and that I was also getting. That's actually I think I said that was the whole mount thing is the last thing that I was going to talk about. One more thing with Burning Crusades. I am really looking forward to Burning Crusades. Dang it, I just lost my train of thought of what I was going to say about it. TBC, Burning Crusades, Asmongold. I guess I might end the video here. But yeah, you guys are definitely going to see me put out World of Warcraft content every once in a while. Not content in terms of like gameplay, because like I said, I haven't even gotten into video editing yet, and I don't even know how to do that. But we'll probably talk about it every now and then. Personally, I'm really excited to experience the Burning Crusades, and it's one of the few expansions that I did always want to be able to go back and play back when I was new to the game. I just never thought it would happen, and I wasn't interested in ever doing any of those, those unofficial servers, because, the last thing I want to do, not the last thing, but like something I'm really not interested in is putting, 200 hours into a character and then having that entire server deleted because it wasn't an official server in the first place. I'm not interested in that. I never was. So I was never going to try those unofficial servers. But I've been enjoying the hell out of Classic. It is such a fun game. It's such a great game. Anyways, Burning Crusade, I can't think of what my last point was going to be about Burning Crusades. But yeah. So anyways, I'll end it there. Looking forward to Burning Crusades. Oh yeah. I do think it's going to go as far as Wrath of the Lich King. Now, the big question with Classic is, what are they going to do after Wrath of the Lich King, after they've released all of the content for Wrath of the Lich King? And we're not really sure. It might just have to kind of be over at that point, because they cannot go to Cataclysm. Blizzard, I'm telling you, I mean, it's not really a conversation we need to have now, because we're all looking forward to Burning Crusades, and I'm sure, myself included and a lot of other people, I'm also looking forward to being able to play Wrath of the Lich King. But they cannot progress it to Cataclysm. They just can't. That will ruin the entire thing. That will actually ruin... There's probably even a small minority of people saying like, oh, even Burning Crusades is going to ruin the experience. A lot of us want to experience it. A lot of us didn't get to play it back in the day, and a lot of us want to. I, in particular, want to play Burning Crusades and Wrath of the Lich King. I want to be able to have that experience for myself. And I still think that even upwards of Wrath of the Lich King, that still counts as classic content. It's the difference between classic and what I call modern World of Warcraft happened with Cataclysm. So they can't do that expansion. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get to that point. But that's at least like 2 to 3 years away, because we still have about 2 years of, at least close to 2 years worth of content with TBC, and then, I would assume at least about 2 years of content with Wrath of the Lich King. So it's a great time to get into Classic as well. I personally am trying to gear up for it right now. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to be playing Burning Crusades on my PvP server or my PvE server. I was trying to gear up on the PvP server because that was my plan. I was like, I'm gonna try and... That's what I thought I wanted to do. And I don't know. I'm still undecided. I'll probably play it both ways, but my question was, like, day one, like, when TBC officially launches and we can all go through the Dark Portal, which server am I going to be playing on, PvP or PvE? I'm still not decided, because my experience on the PvP server has been Not great. Not the worst either, but just more frustrating. And okay, I will end it on this. I'll officially end it on this. This is officially a 25-minute video right now. I'll end it on this. The thing that I don't like about the PvP server so far, the main problem I have with it, is that because yeah, it is kind of fun, there is kind of an added level of excitement running around throughout, whatever zone you're in, just knowing that, like, oh, they could get me at any moment. I gotta be quick, I gotta turn this quest in quick, I gotta go gather this stuff as fast as I can. It is kind of exciting, and it does add to the feel of the game, but there are certain zones that are just off limits. You just cannot go and quest there, and that sucks, because one of these zones is Stranglethorn Vale. It sucks. It really sucks that the Horde like, if you really want to bash your head against that wall over and over and over, you can eventually get those quests done. But the sheer amount of times the Horde will kill you just from being in that area, it's so frustrating. It's so I've just had to skip it. And so yeah, I've gotten to level 40 on my hunter, pretty much having done nothing in Stranglethorn Vale, which it's a really great zone for leveling. Like, it goes all the way from it starts as early as 30, and you can potentially get upwards of level 50 there. It's a great leveling zone. Smart of the Horde to pretty much lock it away from the Alliance players to be able to play there just strategically, but it's also unquestionably a dick move. Like, it just sucks. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, considering there's just entire zones, really great zones, that are just off limits from, like, whether you're on, Alliance or versus Horde, how is that better? How is that a better experience than being able to play any and all the zones? And again, yeah, it is exciting, just like while you're out questing, knowing world PvP could happen at any moment. And that's great for areas like Desolace. Desolace is a kind of a fun area, because I was able to, I don't even know how many levels I got out of Desolace, quite a few. I had to grind there for, oh god, it did at least from like 35 to 40, I think I grinded out in Desolace, and got in a couple fights over there. Again, most of which weren't even fights. I'm not going to consider, a fight with a level 60 rogue to be even a fight. That's not a fight. That's just him deleting my character. But still, it does have that added level of excitement. You got to avoid the level 60 rogues and stuff. But for Stranglethorn Vale, it's just not an option, and that's not cool. I'm definitely thinking so far that the whole PvP server thing is definitely overrated, and I'm still deciding which server I'm going to play on officially for TBC. But so far, I am kind of thinking it might just be my PvE server, because I want to actually be able to enjoy the game. And if when I go through the dark portal, if I'm immediately just starting getting killed by Horde being like, don't let them level, it's like, oh, get out of here. I will run with my tail in between my legs back to the PvE server. I have no shame in that. I want to actually enjoy the game. But if there is good reason maybe to stay on the PvP server, let me know. I will officially leave it there. I'm about to actually start my day. It's early morning right now. It's only like 7:30 a.m. I'm just having my my coffee right now. I just figured, I just watched this video that Asmongold did, and so I figured I'd give my thoughts on that, and just let you guys know that I am a World of Warcraft player. That is how I've spent a significant amount of my time throughout quarantine. So yeah, let me know if that's anything you guys care about. If not, oh well. I will do updates later on the rest of what I'm doing right now, the whole fitness journey. And yeah, all right. See ya.